On a beautiful day in the Los Angeles area, it's week 4 of the NFL on CBS as the Chargers welcome the San Francisco 49ers. Alongside Hall of Famer James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan. We thank you for joining us for this matchup of 1 and 2 teams on a gorgeous day. The Chargers won the toss. They will receive. As you see the current conditions here in Carson, California, temperature approaching 80 degrees. Bradley Pinion kicking away to Desmond King. And we are underway in Carson. It's a touchback, and LA will get the football at the 25-yard line. Phillip Rivers off to a hot start this season, already 8 touchdowns, which is tied for 3rd in the NFL. And in his last 6 home games, he's 5-1 with only 1 interception. Chargers averaging 415 yards per game. That's 5th best in the NFL. They start with an empty backfield with Rivers in the shotgun, and now Gordon will join him. Rivers with good protection. Flings it to Gordon, who's hit immediately, and the pass is incomplete. It was Reuben Foster on the coverage for the 49ers.
That little flick of the wrist that Phillip Rivers is able to do, that's why he doesn't get sacked a lot. They can throw the ball all day long. He's been sacked 4 times this year, and he's not mobile. And that's the amazing thing about him. He can just stand back there and get rid of it. He knows where everybody is in every pass route.
Chargers have not scored a touchdown on their opening drive in 20 games.
Hey,
that's the second longest active streak in the NFL.
380! Good!
On second down, they hand it to Melvin Gordon, and Gordon is smothered. DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead combine on the tackle, and it's 3rd and long. Take a look at the Chargers' offensive line. Joe Barksdale will miss another game with a knee injury. Sam Tevi makes his 3rd straight start. And there's Ken Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. His offense facing a 3rd down and 10.
Hey! Space 54! Space 54! 54 and 56! Space 54 and 56! Big time target, Antonio Gates on 3rd down for Rivers.
Rivers over the middle, picked off! On the interception, it's Anton Exum! Touchdown! A pick 6 for the Niners! First pick 6 for Phillip Rivers since 2016, and the Niners strike first.
The Niners don't always get great pressure from the edge, but they get pressure up the middle. A lot of tall guys. DeForest Buckner in there at 6'7", a lot of length, and so having to throw over that length, I don't think Phillip Rivers saw exactly where he's throwing it to. He was throwing to a spot, didn't realize there'd be a defender in that spot.
First career interception for the 4th-year man out of Virginia Tech, Anton Exum, who wasn't even sure if he'd be able to play today. Kyle Shanahan told us that a thigh bruise popped up for Exum late in the week. He was added to the injury report yesterday, listed as questionable, able to make the start. He makes a big play early in this one. The extra point for Robbie Gould is good, and what a start for the 49ers. Just the 2nd interception of the season for Phillip Rivers, and San Francisco takes a 7-0 lead.
You know, you come back, you're going to look at all those Polaroids, and everybody's going to wonder exactly what happened. You saw the hand up in Phillip Rivers' face, and the defender just out there in that same spot. He's trying to throw what he thought was a man-to-man route. He didn't realize there'd be that extra floating defender in there, and Exum, who's actually playing the linebacker position in the nickel. Johnny on the spot.
First interception of the season for the San Francisco defense, and it pays off with a touchdown. You take a look at the Chargers since 2015, slow starts in the month of September, and then in the 4th quarter, they've blown 16 4th-quarter leads, most in the NFL since 2015. Special team struggles with 23 missed field goals. They've also been hurt in 1-score games. Second worst in the NFL in that span.
And you would think with a quarterback as productive as Philip Rivers has been, that they'd be able to pull a lot of those fourth quarter games out, not lose those fourth quarter leads.
Desmond King, the return man, and once again, it's a touchback. So we mentioned that Rivers in his last 6 home games had only thrown 1 interception. Well, he's already got one here in the first minute of the game, and now the Chargers offense will go back to work. No Richard Sherman today for the 49ers, out with a calf strain. Hopes to get back in the lineup in the next week or 2. And once again, a Chargers opening drive fails to result in a touchdown. Melvin Gordon running around the left side, and he gets a couple of yards on the play. Reuben Foster makes the tackle as we take a look at the San Francisco starting defense under defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. The focus this week for the defense was tackling. According to Pro Football Focus, the Niners have missed the most tackles in the NFL this season with 43 in the first 3 weeks. So they told us extra drills at practice this week to work on that tackling. Rivers takes a shot on the release, and the pass is incomplete. 5 plays for the Chargers. They've gained a total of 3 yards.
Great job by the 49ers coming after them. And on the back end, if you realize you have a blitz, get your head around, because you know that ball is going to come out quickly. Jimmy Ward going up against a big physical Mike Williams. We talked to him the other day about those physical guys. He said, hey, I used to play strong safety, so I can be physical when I have to be physical.
It was Reuben Foster who applied the pressure. And now 3rd down and 7.
Hey, listen.
Rivers chased and he throws it away. Once again, it was Foster coming with pressure. And the Chargers will send out their punt team.
And Rivers at the tail end of this is complaining to the officials, well, he hit me down low, but you're also moving out of the pocket. You're a little bit of a runner. He starts up high, but you cannot forcibly hit him below the knees. And I don't know if that was forcible because he hit him right around the waist.
Dante Pettis is back deep for the 49ers to receive the punt from Drew Kaiser. And Pettis from his own 18. Going backwards and tackled at the 14. Ball came out late. It appeared Pettis was down, and they are saying he was down. It's San Francisco football. A 55-yard punt and a loss of 2 on the return by Pettis, who is still down. Pettis, the 2nd-round pick out of Washington. Let's take a look at the end of this play.
You saw him, no shoe on his foot, so I don't know if that caused part of the injury, but he was trying to plan on that shoeless foot and just slipped right under him.
Pettis scored a touchdown on his first NFL reception. It was week 1 in the loss to Minnesota. Did not have a target last week in the passing game, but he's been the primary punt returner here for San Francisco.
You know, when he was at the University of Washington, he has an NCAA record, 9 touchdown returns on punts. So obviously really dangerous in that. I see when guys move to the NFL, one of the things that they do is they think they can set people up. I don't know if you can hesitate the way that he did. You've got to just attack those guys and try and miss one person.
While they attend to Pettis, we will step aside. 7-0 49ers. Rookie Dante Pettis slowly walks off to the 49ers sideline. He was banged up on that punt return, and now C.J. Beathard will make his first start of the 2018 season. 3rd-round pick a year ago out of Iowa. Started 5 games last year. A 1-4 record before Jimmy Garoppolo took over. Of course, Garoppolo tore his ACL last week in Kansas City. He's out for the year, so Beathard is the guy, handing off to Breida, who is spun down for a loss. Brandon Mebane on the tackle for the Chargers.
If you're going to try and run wide, you've got to make sure that you can get the edge. But Kyle Emanuel, outside linebacker, number 51, does a great job in making a pile. The offensive guard who's pulling out in front of him, puts him on the ground. Breida has to run around that. No chance to get to the edge.
Kyle Shanahan calls the plays in this 49ers offense. And the second-year man, Beathard, in the shotgun. And his pass is incomplete. He was looking for Pierre Garcon. And now it's 3rd and long for San Francisco. Mike Person a little slow to get up on that last play. He is the starting right guard for Kyle Shanahan. It's actually the center, Weston Richburg, 58, not 68, that's slowly walking off. So there'll be a new center in there now for the 49ers. And it's Eric Magnuson.
And Richburg was one of their offseason acquisitions, played for the Giants, starter for a number of years coming over here. They expected him to fill that same role. So this is tough. You got the backup quarterback and also your backup center, the two guys who have to communicate to the offense.
And it's 3rd down and 11. And flags. A false start against San Francisco. Ron Torbert, our referee.
Before the ball was snapped, ball start. Offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
It's on Trent Taylor. It's been a big problem for the 49ers here, tied for the 4th most penalties in the NFL with 26 in 3 games.
And pre-snap penalties, you want to think that you'd be able to avoid those just by everybody being on the same page. But backup center in, quarterback with a different cadence.
So the penalty makes it 3rd and 16. Beathard in his own end zone gets rid of it to George Kittle. And Kittle is tripped up first by Trevor Williams, then by Adrian Phillips. And the Chargers defense does the job as the punter Bradley Pinion comes out for the 49ers.
Great job by the defense, because what this does with this basic 3 and out, now you're going to get great field position on the other end, even if you just fair catch this punt.
For the Chargers, J.J. Jones has been doing a lot of the return duties this year. He is inactive today. Travis Benjamin is up, but once again it's Desmond King who's been returning kickoffs back to field the punt from Pinion at his own 38. And King is tackled immediately. Fred Warner making the special teams play for the 49ers. With 11:32 to go in the opening quarter. 3rd drive coming up for Rivers in the Chargers offense.
A nice battle between quarterback, who's been in the league forever, and Fred Warner, the middle linebacker, who's a rookie. You know, we can hear Phillip Rivers at the line of scrimmage doing all the changes, and Fred Warner has to respond to those. So he's listening to Phillip Rivers just as much as we are.
Okay, Mike, I'm going.
Chargers will start this drive at their own 37-yard line. Rivers to Benjamin, his 2nd catch of the year, and maybe gets a yard. It was K'Wan Williams making the tackle on the sideline. Benjamin has missed the last 2 games with a foot injury. He was listed as questionable today, but is able to go.
And I think Anthony Lynn and you talked to the offensive coordinator, Ken Wisenhunt, they wanted to take a look at him early. The very first play of the game, they were trying to deep shot to him, but the 49ers made sure that they stayed deep enough.
Anthony Lynn told us Benjamin looked a little rusty in practice this week. Wasn't sure what they get out of Benjamin. Rivers fires a dart to Keenan Allen. Tackled at the 41-yard line by Reuben Foster, who's had an active start to this game. And it brings up 3rd down.
In Reuben Foster, who last year played inside linebacker, and Fred Warner, they have 2 what I would consider elite nickel linebackers. Guys who can run, who can also hit, they can cover. And you saw that from that tackle, they like to be physical at the end of tackle.
49ers 5th worst defense on 3rd down so far this year. See how they fare here. 3rd and 5. Rivers connects, and the tackle is made short of the sticks. It was Keenan Allen on the reception, and Fred Warner coming over to make the stop. It's 4th and 1, and for now the offense is staying on the field.
Yeah, if I'm Anthony Lynn, I'm going for it on 4th and 1 here because you're going against a very young quarterback, and you've got a chance now to put some points on the board. You're at midfield, you've got a great quarterback, but they are taking a lot of time. I think they may end up having a timeout here before they get this play snap.
Anthony Lynn going to go for it here.
Phillip Rivers is asking for him to reset the clock. There's no reason for the officials to reset it.
And Rivers is wasting more time by pleading his case, and now they'll have to call timeout.
The strength of the San Francisco 49ers is on their defensive line. When you look at what they've done with just draft picks, they have 3 #1 draft picks on that defensive line. So 4th and 1, and it's a long one. It's a true yard. They've got a chance here after this timeout to really gear up and get ready for a play that probably will come in between the tackles.
Chargers 2 for 3 on 4th downs this year, including a touchdown pass to Mike Williams last week, coming on a 4th down play in the loss against the Rams. Look at this Chargers team. They lost to the 3-0 Chiefs and the 4-0 Rams. The rest of the season, they have the easiest remaining schedule based on current NFL records. But they've already seen 2 of the best in the NFL this year. Ball is at the 46-yard line. 4th down and 1.
Good hunt! Second, baby! Good hunt! Son!
Rivers himself trying to push the pile forward, and that looks with the spot to be a 1st down. Phillip Rivers, who does not have a rushing touchdown since 2011, is able to pick up the 1st.
Well, we joked with him in our meeting, and I mentioned to him, I said, you have not had a double-digit run in the last 2 seasons. He said, don't worry about it. I probably won't this year either.
Got enough there with 9:15 to go in the 1st quarter.
48 spot! 380! Red!
It's a play fake. Rivers to Gordon out of the backfield. Gordon has the 1st down to the 40-yard line. It was Fred Warner and Malcolm Smith on the stop, and not before Gordon gains 13.
The ability to take that one look down the field, because it's a shot play. They're trying to get a deep ball. To take that one look, realize it's not there, and then to quickly get the ball to Melvin Gordon where he can do a little bit after the catch. That's what veteran quarterbacks do. They have a microprocessor that just works a lot faster than it does when you first come into the league.
11 plays, no touches yet for Austin Eckler. He's the motion man here on 1st down and 10. And they flip it to Gordon once again, following the block of Russell Okung, and Gordon is shoved out by Jimmy Ward after a gain of 3.
That's the 2nd time that the Chargers have really tried to stretch this defensive front, because, like I said, those 4 big defensive linemen, 3 of them are 1st-round picks. That's talent right there. But so you want to run away from them. You want to tire them out and make them run from sideline to sideline.
49ers have won 6 straight games when scoring first. Since the start of last year, they're 6-1 when putting points on the board first. While for the Chargers, when they have allowed the first score, they're just 2-8 since the start of last year. Melvin Gordon again. And he runs right into Eric Armstead. Malcolm Smith also helping out on the stop. Phillip Rivers now at the age of 36. This is his 196th consecutive start, the longest active streak in the NFL. It's also his 200th game played, and he's like, I only came in a few times as the backup those other 4. 200 straight starts will certainly be a nice milestone for him. 3rd and 5. Rivers has time, lofts one for Gates and completes. It was Jimmy Ward on the coverage, and the Chargers are now 0 for 4 on 3rd downs. And now what is Anthony Lynn going to do?
Well, you're looking at what would be, 54-yard field goal right here?
And he does send out Caleb Sturgis. It's actually a 54, you're right, 54-yard attempt for Sturgis, his first attempt from 50 yards or longer so far this year. Kick on the way, and Sturgis is no good. Misses wide right. By no means an easy one, but again, a special teams play the Chargers are not able to capitalize on as Sturgis pushes this one right. A look at Caleb Sturgis about an hour before the game, warming up. He was 4 of 5 coming into the game, but didn't have the best warm-up from distance. And that's the special teams coach, George Stewart, talking to Sturgis again. So the 49ers defense has gotten off to a nice start here today. The offense goes back to work. And this is Breida with some room to run, and Breida out of bounds at the 45-yard line. A gain of 12 for Breida, who came into the day tied for the lead in rushing yards in the NFL with Ezekiel Elliott.
Just speed going around the corner. Breida, 4.3, 4.25, 4.35. Nobody knows for sure, but he outruns the defense and gets to the edge.
Cut.
He was questionable today. He's got a hyperextended knee, but Kyle Shanahan told us he got better as the week went along. Beathard over the middle and connects with Marquise Goodwin. Another San Fran first down to the 24-yard line, a gain of 20.
Flag down back near where the quarterback threw the ball.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 93. Penalty is half the distance to the goal from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
All week long in the defensive meetings, we're playing against a second-year quarterback. Let's get some hits on him. Let's intimidate him. You still have to be smart. You can't take those extra steps and run through them because it will be a penalty. You're going to get it time and time again. There is Phylon. You got to pull off. Even though you want to get him and you want to kind of intimidate him a little bit, you've got to pull off. You have to take more than a step.
There's been some questionable calls in the roughing the passer department so far this year, but I don't think you can argue that one. For the 49ers, good news, Weston Richburg is back in at center. First down and 10 from the 13. Beathard on the move to Kyle Juszczyk, and Juszczyk inside the 10, tackled at the 7 by Trevor Williams. Kyle Juszczyk had a touchdown last week in the loss against Kansas City.
And Juszczyk is the gold standard for fullbacks around the league. 130 career receptions, now 131 career receptions. He is a player that you use in a big fashion, not just a guy who comes in and does some blocking from time to time. And the defense has to be alert to him.
Second down and 5. It's Breida. Breida to the 5, still going, and Breida down close to the 1-yard line. Jaleel Adai on the tackle for the Chargers. But it's good for a first down, so it's first and goal for San Francisco.
And they're going to take Breida out, put in Alfred Morris, who's a little bit of bigger back. But I watched Breida run, and he is physical. Watch him put his shoulders down and plow for extra yardage. But Alfred Morris just has a knack for like finding a small sliver and catapulting himself forward. A little bit of a confusion. 49ers may come up with a timeout here.
10 on the play clock. They're still in the huddle. They brought in Earl Mitchell as the fullback. And now we have a stoppage and a timeout by Kyle Shanahan.
San Francisco calls its first charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds in lane.
All right, James, during the timeout, let's take a look at your keys to today's game.
Well, everybody knows that once you get the third down, you better be able to get off the field. And the 49ers have had trouble with that. Lack of pass rush, not being able to tackle. And for the Chargers, little big man. We've seen Breida on that side, but Austin Eckler behind Melvin Gordon has been really, really special. Doesn't have a touch today, but I know they're going to have several ways to try and get him the ball. So a couple things to watch in this ball game.
14 plays for the Chargers, no touches yet for Eckler. As Philip Rivers waits to go back on the field, hoping his defense can at least limit San Francisco to a field goal attempt, but they've got it 1st and goal at the 2.
And a drive that started because of a missed field goal near midfield and then was aided by a roughing the passer penalty.
Once again, Mitchell, the defensive lineman, in at fullback. Morris, the running back. It's Alfred Morris up the middle, hit and stopped. And the first one to get there was Rayshawn Jenkins, the second-year safety out of Miami.
Sometimes you try and pack everybody in and you bring in that big defensive tackle to be your lead blocker. It just signals to the defense. They're coming straight at us. They're coming downhill. Now you second-guess yourself a little bit, but you go to formation, take your wide receivers, spread them out, move people outside the box, and the safety does not need to play that deep to guard the total back line.
Breida back in the game at running back. It's a play fake. Beathard over the middle. Caught! Touchdown! Kendrick Bourne! His second touchdown of the season, and San Francisco jumps out to a 13-0 lead. Fifth career touchdown pass for C.J. Beathard, who started 4 of 5 for 36 yards.
And you come up with that inverted wishbone, but a nice move to beat the best corner that they had, Casey Hayward. Stalls him at the line of scrimmage and makes him stop his feet and just burst right inside of it. And a ball thrown right on the money by C.J. Beathard.
First touchdown pass this season for C.J. Beathard as Robbie Gould comes out for the extra point. He missed one last week, and this one is right down the middle. And what a start here for San Francisco with a lot of their fans in the stands at the StubHub Center. Beathard and the Niners have jumped out to a 14-0 lead. There's the sea of red here in Carson. Kendrick Bourne, second-year man out of Eastern Washington, had his first NFL touchdown week 2 against the Lions, and he finds the end zone again here in week 4.
Andrew, when I coached with the Chargers when they were in San Diego, we had the same issue. Everybody wants to come south for that game in the sunshine. So people who've relocated, who moved out of the Bay Area, they love coming down here. If you're in Kansas City, you want to come out to California and visit. So it's always been a dilemma for the Chargers, regardless of whether they were down south or up here north in Los Angeles.
Philip Rivers going to try to jumpstart this Chargers offense. Rivers is 4 of 9 for 22 yards. And the pick 6 by Exum here in the first quarter. And another touchback for Bradley Pinion. Well, this past Tuesday, the Chargers partnered with Inglewood Unified School District students for their annual back-to-school shoe giveaway. Each child was paired up with a Chargers player to shop with, helping them to pick out the perfect new pair of shoes and backpack for this year's school year. There's 2 first downs for Anthony Lynn's Chargers so far. They've run 14 plays, have a total of 30 yards. First down and 10 from the 25. Rivers looking to go deep, and he finds on an out route Keenan Allen for a first down. Ahkello Witherspoon on the coverage, but Allen gains 18.
Andrew, if you're going to try and stop the run, you're going to stack the box. That's going to leave your corners one-on-one on the outside. And Keenan Allen, he can put moves on people. He gets in and out of his breaks like he's about 5'10", as opposed to being 6'3".
Only had 3 catches last week, his fewest since week 7 last year. But here in the first quarter, he already has 3 catches for 25 yards. And that pickup takes the Chargers out to the 43-yard line. Rivers wants to go back to the air, looking for Antonio Gates. He's got him. Another LA first down. It was Solomon Thomas who dropped on Gates to make the tackle But the ageless Gates gains 22.
A little bit of an overload blitz where you're going to bring some people that you don't normally bring, and then you're going to match up your defensive end against arguably the finest tight end that the Chargers have ever seen, and one of the top 5 guys who's played in the last 15 years, Antonio Gates. I think that mixed match leans toward the Chargers a little bit.
Coming in, the Chargers had the most plays of at least 20 yards in the NFL this year, and Gates gives them another with that 22-yard reception. Rivers chased out, gets rid of it to Gordon, and Gordon tackled at the 31-yard line. A gain of 5. Reuben Foster on the tackle. Antonio Gates in his 16th NFL season, all with the Chargers. He's got more touchdowns than any tight end in NFL history with 114, and re-signed with LA just 7 days before the first game of the season.
When I was the receiver coach here, any ball that he caught over 10 yards, I took credit for. Because he's basically a wide receiver playing tight end.
First 14 plays, Chargers at 30 yards. They've got 45 in their last 3, and they add to their total with Tyrell Williams. A late flag comes in as Williams is spun down inside the 10.
Good pressure by Cassius Marsh, but Rivers just standing right in there, knowing exactly where he wanted to go with the ball.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 24. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
That's on K'Wan Williams, and it's 1st and goal for LA.
Talked about Gates, 114 career touchdown catches. He is so dangerous in this area because he just has a quick, subtle little shake move that just frees his defenders.
Melvin Gordon, the running back. Rivers rolling right, throws, it's caught by Virgil Green, and he is stood up by Malcolm Smith. Nice defensive play by the veteran linebacker. DJ Reed also coming in to help out, and it's 2nd and goal.
He wanted to go to Gates. He stumbled a little bit out of his break. Rivers comes off of him, throws underneath the Green, and defender right there in his lap.
Chargers have been money in the red zone this year. 70% of the time they've scored touchdowns, and Rivers, coming into this drive, 10 of 14 in the red zone, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rivers to the end zone, deflected and incomplete. And it's 3rd and goal.
Trying to get that ball to Keenan Allen on the outside. He has a little sliver inside, but the defender who's on Gates does a nice job coming off of it. Exum, who had the interception, returned for a touchdown earlier today. 2nd big play of the day.
Final minute of the first quarter, and Ken Wisenhunt and the Chargers faced with 3rd and goal.
If you're along this defensive line, you probably can't get to him, so you'd love to get your hands up and disrupt the throw.
Melvin Gordon at the bottom of your screen. Rivers looking his way. Now shakes him off, and a wide open Gates for the touchdown. First of the season for Antonio Gates, the 115th of his career. You gonna take credit for that one too?
I'll take partial credit for that because he is just that little shake move, and Reuben Foster did not realize he had him in man-to-man coverage. He saw the receiver come and flash in front of him. He chased that receiver like the old, oh no.
Wow, another miss for Sturgis. Missed an extra point last week and misses another one here, and special teams continue to haunt the LA Chargers. We specifically asked Anthony Lynn about the special teams miscues, and he said, you know what? We're playing a lot better, but it's just 1 or 2 plays that have been absolute killers. And here's another miss for Sturgis.
I remember talking to George Stewart, the special teams coach, last year. And he said one of the things we want to do, we want to increase our team speed. And they've done that with a lot of kids that they've drafted. We've seen that. and they just have to get together. Like you said, it's one guy making a mistake, another guy making a mistake, because they have what they need with the speed out there on the field to get the job done in the special teams area. But it's really a backbreaker when your kicker misses point after touchdown.
On that drive, Phillip Rivers was 6 of 7 for 71 yards, including the touchdown pass to Antonio Gates. Sturgis kicking away to DJ Reed, and it's a touchback. Well, we've talked about the special teams problems. All you got to do is look back to last week against the Rams, and big issues for George Stewart's unit. It was Sturgis missing an extra point in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter, Drew Kazer's punt was blocked. Rams recovered it for a touchdown, and it continues here today with Sturgis missing an extra point. So it's 14-6 following the miss, and C.J. Beathard and the Niners offense back on the field. Beathard with a screen to George Kittle, and Kittle nice moves to the 32-yard line. A gain of 8 on the play. Jatavis Brown on the tackle. One more note on that Antonio Gates touchdown. It was his 39th career touchdown on third down, which is now tied for third in NFL history with Chris Carter for the most touchdowns on third down. So the records continue to come for the 38-year-old Antonio Gates.
But it's the first touchdown by a 38-year-old tight end on third down.
That's unconfirmed. We will look at that up, and that is the final play of the first quarter. A lot going on in this first quarter. Started with a pick six thrown by Phillip Rivers. Ends with an Antonio Gates touchdown, but yet another missed extra point. And at the end of one, the Niners lead 14-6.
Andrew, you always talk about halftime adjustments. There are so many adjustments that you would like to make in game. And if you have a quarterback who's starting for the sixth time like C.J. Beathard, I think you almost have to pull back a little bit if you're Kyle Shanahan and make sure that you don't give him too much. You stick to the script that you've laid out. You stick to plays that you've run successfully in practice. And some of the things that you just do over and over again. We talked to Kyle Shanahan the other day, and I said, Kyle, if the defense had a book on you, what would it say? And he said, well, I like to run the ball. I like to make the linebackers play from sideline to sideline, and I want to attack you vertically. So we've seen that with Burita. We know they like to run the ball, and we've seen the vertical attack. We saw the deep pass over the middle to Marquise Goodwin, and that pass could have been a deep post pattern if you didn't have the safety in center field, but he runs a 20-yard hook and comes back to the football.
In that first quarter, Beathard 5 of 6 for 44 yards and the touchdown pass to Kendrick Bourne. And they'll start this quarter with a 2nd down and 2. We'd like to welcome some of you just joining us for the first time today. Start of the second quarter here in Carson, California. And the 49ers have a 14-6 lead on the Chargers. With James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan, Gene Steratore back in our New York studio. It was 14-0 San Francisco before late in the first quarter, Phillip Rivers connected with Antonio Gates, but the extra point was no good by Caleb Sturgis. So 14-6 in favor of the 49ers. Beathard trips, ball comes out, and the 49ers recover. It was Burita who fell on the ball after Beathard stumbled out of the gate.
Oftentimes when you see the quarterback stumble like that, he got his foot stepped on as he's trying to get away from the center. The center's moving to his right. Beathard doesn't get his right foot out of the way, and he goes down. Lucky they were able to maintain possession of the football.
49ers scored on a pick six of Phillip Rivers by Antone Exum, and then a touchdown pass from Beathard to Kendrick Bourne. It's 3rd down and 3. So far today, the 49ers 0 for 1 on 3rd downs. Beathard with time, throws to Marquise Goodwin, and he's got the first down with forward progress. Trevor Williams on the stop, but San Francisco moves the chains.
Interesting, when Marquise Goodwin came out of the University of Texas and he went to Buffalo, he was a world-class long jumper, an Olympian for us, and you just thought, throw him a lot of deep passes. He said, when he came here, they turned me into a route runner, and that precision that it takes to long jump, you're 40 yards away from that long jump board, and now you're going to run down and jump, and you're going to be within an inch of the end of the board. So he's transferred that into becoming a good route runner.
C.J. Beathard starting for the injured Jimmy Garoppolo, out for the year with a torn ACL, has started 6 out of 7. Now some trickery. Goodwin going the other way with Beathard blocking. Goodwin gets around Emmanuel and out of bounds, chased out by Jaleel Addae. But Marquise Goodwin showing off some of that speed you talked about, James, picks up 4.
That was a big reverse, and by that I mean he split out way outside the numbers, so there's a lot of territory to cover as his quarterback, as his lead blocker. But Beathard told us, he said, I've got to be smart. You know, I'm now the guy. I don't have, you know, my backup guy just came off the practice squad, so I'm going to protect myself. So don't expect me to throw a bone-crushing block right there.
And Kyle Shanahan is the one that got that message in Beathard's head. He likes to run, but Shanahan said you've got to protect yourself in the situation we're in. It's a play fake. Beathard. And that pass is incomplete. Looking for Kyle Juszczyk, and it's 3rd down.
Well, that's a great close by Jatavius Brown, because this play is supposed to go down the field. And now Beathard comes off late to the fullback. And we talked about Phillip Rivers taking one look down the field, realizing it's not there. Beathard waited a little too long, which allowed Brown a chance to close on Juszczyk coming out of the backfield.
San Francisco's had some rough first quarters to start the season, but not today. They have the 14-6 lead after 1, and now faced with 3rd and 6. Beathard over the middle, and it's caught by George Kittle, and that spot looks to be good enough for a San Francisco first down. It is.
Somewhere Roger Craig has the biggest grin on his face. Old number 33, he used to come out of the backfield on this play, and he's come out, he just come right to the inside there on a quick little slant. Roger Craig made that famous Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, fullback, halfback combination. They had 12, but they were never in the huddle. You heard the Chargers complaining about it.
And now the officials will stop play. It's an official timeout as Ron Torbert huddles up.
When the defense has 12 in formation before play, they'll stop it. The offense came out with 12 people, and I don't know if somebody came in all the way from the numbers. They're talking to Coach Lynn about it right now.
There's no foul on the play. It's first down. Clock will start on my signal.
Yeah, they were not in the huddle with 12. They were split out, and they got them off the field. So, yeah, a little bit of a technicality, because if the defense had done the same thing, it would have been a penalty against the defense.
Kittle, one of 3 tight ends in the NFL to lead his team in both catches and receiving yards through the first 3 games of the year. Alfred Morris in at running back, and he takes the handoff running left. Morris picks up 2 on the play. Morris was questionable with a knee injury, limited in practice on Friday. Kyle Shanahan said he's gotten actually worse throughout the week, but he's active today. And the tricky thing for Kyle Shanahan was not knowing Morris's previous injury history. He signed in the middle of August. It's a relatively new relationship, so he didn't know really how to evaluate Morris, but he's able to go today. And that was his 2nd carry of the first half.
Right here at the bottom, Chris Landrum, designated pass rusher coming in.
It's Morris again, and Morris has a first down. Spent his last 2 seasons with the Cowboys, and before that he was in Washington for 4 years.
Alfred Morris is such a no-nonsense runner. Because remember, when he was with the Washington Redskins running that Mike Shanahan offense, it's just one cut and go. Same thing here. And so Kyle Shanahan knew that about him and knew that he would run that course. And there's a good changeup from Breida.
Kyle Shanahan was his offensive coordinator for a part of his time with the Redskins. Beathard's pass is knocked down. Guess who? Derwin James. What an impressive talent. The 1st-round pick out of Florida State, off to an incredible start in this young season.
You have to account for him. Normally he lines up in deep center field. If he lines up close to the line of scrimmage, he's going to be involved in the play. And that's about maybe about a 32-inch vertical right there. He didn't have to stretch out the whole way.
Anthony Lynn said he's good right now, but he has the potential to be great. And it's been an awesome start for Chargers fans to see number 33. This is the 10th play of the drive. It's taken up more than 5 minutes on the clock. 2nd and 10. Beathard's pass deflected a second time, and incomplete. Denzel Perryman had a great chance to pick that one off.
That play was not there from the moment that C.J. Beathard got the snap. They had overloaded that side. You're running crossing routes in that direction. Sometimes it's better to throw the ball away than to lob it into coverage. He really dodged the bullet right there. Denzel Perryman, who's listed at 5'11", if he really were 5'11", probably would have been able to pull that one down.
Coming into this game, San Francisco 0 for 16 on 3rd and 8 or longer. They've got a 3rd and 10 here. Beathard looking deep for Goodwin. Incomplete, but a flag comes in. Trevor Williams had the coverage on Goodwin.
Speed will make you nervous if you're
Before the
playing
pass is
corner.
thrown, illegal contact. Defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
What I like that C.J. Beathard did there, pressure coming at him, throw that ball deep, give your player a chance to make a play on the football. When pressure's on you, if you try and throw the short little pass, and that guy's covered, we saw it the play before where Perryman almost had the interception. You lost 5 yards there. You gave him the first down. If you're the Chargers, you go out and you have to be more resolute now that this drive is into your territory.
First down and 10. Quick pass to Taylor. And Taylor gets away from Desmond King and then shoved out of bounds by Trevor Williams. 10:21 to go in the first half. It's a gain of 5.
You know, sometimes you see a player who doesn't look real big, and Taylor, who's only 5'8", 180 pounds, but you see the strength he had to run through that first arm tackle, because that could have been a no-gain play. But you end up with 5 yards. Now you've got a positive gain, and it puts Kyle Shanahan in a nice rhythm as a play caller, because calling 2nd and 5s are a lot easier than calling 2nd and 10s.
Like 20!
Ball at the 33-yard line. And Beathard hands off to Breida, and he is met at the line of scrimmage and pushed back by Damian Square. A loss of 2 on the play. Nice play by Square, the 6th-year man out of Alabama.
That's some bulk there. You start that stretch play, and if you can get on the outside shoulder of the guard or tackle that's in your area moving in that direction and make some penetration. Because the one thing that the Chargers know about Breida is that he likes to also cut runs back. So you get the front side penetration, you get the backside pursuing. You get a nice negative play from the Chargers right there.
San Francisco 2 for 2 on this drive on 3rd downs. It's 3rd and 7. Beathard crushed as he throws and still connects with Kittle. Oh, C.J. Beathard took a big hit, but he gets 12 in the first down.
Derwin James, what do they say, mama, there goes that man again, and he's unblocked. That's the thing about it. When he's up near the line of scrimmage, when he's not in deep center field, there should be an alert from everybody on the offensive line, the running backs who have to pick him up. You've got to deal with Derwin James.
But behind the play, Joe Staley is down. Will step aside here in Carson. 8:56 to go, second quarter. The 49ers have a 14-6 lead on the Chargers. Here in the booth with the LA native, James Lofton. I'm Andrew Catalon. And a lot of doubters out there with the 49ers losing Jimmy Garoppolo, but C.J. Beathard's off to a very nice start.
And when you're an offensive player, you don't care how those points got on the scoreboard, you take credit for it. So 14 points early for the 49ers, so they only scored 3 first quarter points the entire season.
Beathard screen to Breida, slips a tackle, and Breida inside the 15 with a late flag coming in. Meanwhile, for San Francisco, Joe Staley went into the medical tent, and replacing him at left tackle is Gary Gilliam.
Holding. Offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
That's on Garrett Selleck, the tight end.
You know, you're out in space, you want to take the hands off them, but see those hands outside and that twist and that little turn? Because all you need to do is continue to run your feet. That's way down the field, so that's not actually coming all the way back to the line of scrimmage, and it's not going to be a 1st and 20.
There's Staley out of the medical tent, but still on the sideline. And there is Gilliam coming in to take his place with 8.5 to go in the second quarter. Beathard keeps it himself and nowhere to go. Melvin Ingram, great containment, and Beathard out of bounds. Beathard had 3 rushing touchdowns in 7 games last year. He took over for Brian Hoyer. And then after Beathard was injured against Seattle, the Jimmy Garoppolo era began. But cut short this year after Garoppolo suffered a torn ACL in Kansas City last week. Kyle Shanahan told us, to be honest with you, the playbook and my play calling is not going to change too much with Garoppolo and Beathard. It was a bigger change when they lost Jerick McKinnon to a torn ACL in early September. Beathard over the middle, caught by Garcon at the 15-yard line. First catch today for Pierre Garcon, a gain of 13.
You know, we met with Marquise Goodwin, his battery mate, and he talked about Pierre Garcon setting the standard in the room, being a tough, physical veteran who likes to do everything the correct way. Remember, here's a guy who came into the league with Peyton Manning. So there was none of that, taking shortcuts. He learned the hard way, and it was also a very successful Redskin where he was there with Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan.
So it's 3rd down and 3 from the 15-yard line. Breida in the backfield next to Beathard. Beathard throws right. It's caught by Kittle, and that is another San Francisco first down. Beathard and Kittle have a special connection. Kyle's teammates at Iowa.
Just that slant, flat route, the outside receiver running the slant, inside receiver running the flat. Probably the first pass route that you learn to run as a wide receiver and a tight end combination.
Kyle Shanahan told us last night that in the draft, everyone just assumed Kittle was a blocking tight end, but he's got great speed, and as Kyle joked, he said his quarterback just didn't throw it to him enough. Of course, the quarterback was C.J. Beathard at Iowa. Reunited again. 18th play of the drive, longest this year. Breida. And Breida now to the 7-yard line. This drive started at the San Francisco 25-yard line. It's now taken up more than 9.5 minutes on the clock. And longest of the year for the Niners.
And for the Charger offensive players, they're getting anxious now. Because now they've been sitting there long enough, they're looking at the time left in the quarter, they're looking at the scoreboard, all the things that you don't want to think about while you're in the course of the game.
Beathard out of the shotgun, throws, and it's caught inside the 5. It's Garcon again. He is tackled at the 3-yard line by Jatavis Brown. It's 3rd and goal.
There is a certain confidence that some receivers emit when they're catching balls in tight spaces. When you get a guy like Pierre Garcon, you don't have to worry that there are linebackers and safeties around him and that he's going to look away from the ball and it's going to glance off his hands. He's going to focus on that football. He is a tough, physical player. You don't have to worry about him in those tight spaces.
The 49ers have had 40 drives of at least 10 plays going back to the start of last year, tied for the most in the NFL. On 3rd and goal, Beathard throws it away with the pressure coming. It was Justin Jones, the rookie out of NC State, that forced the throw, and Kyle Shanahan will send out his kicker, Robbie Gould.
And a good throwaway, because you hold the ball for an extra second there. Melvin Ingram comes in, swipes the ball away. You're trying to get somebody maybe to the corner out there. A little bit of a holding and grabbing by the Chargers, but not enough to elicit a penalty flag.
This is a 21-yard attempt for Gould, who has made 31 field goals in a row. That's a franchise record and the longest active streak in the NFL. And that streak continues. With 4:59 to go, San Francisco now leads it 17-6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. And by State Farm, here to help life go right.
Tonight, what happened during the Kavanaugh hearings that you did not know? We sit down with the senators who did the negotiating, plus Sir Paul McCartney, tonight on the season premiere of 60 Minutes. 4:59 to go first half. San Francisco has a 17-6 lead. It's another touchback for Bradley Pinion. Philip Rivers had a long wait. His offense returns to the field coming up. We're back with a look at our game summary. It was a pick six thrown by Philip Rivers to Anton Exum, his first career interception. Chargers have another missed extra point. Sturgis also missed a field goal. It was Beathard to Kendrick Bourne for a touchdown. Antonio Gates put the Chargers on the board, and then San Francisco just tacked on another field goal. So it's 17-6 in favor of the Niners. Rivers to Keenan Allen. Had a step on K'Wan Williams. And Keenan Allen with a 16-yard gain for a first down.
Now, some people might call this an RPO run pass option. It's just a little subtle play fake. Gets the linebackers to step up. See the linebackers flowing, and then there's no underneath coverage to stop the quick slant to Keenan Allen.
Ball at the 41, first down and 10. Melvin Gordon. And Gordon to the 45-yard line. Earl Mitchell and Exum on the stop after a gain of 4. A couple of quick injury updates from the San Francisco sideline. It's a knee injury for Joe Staley. His return is questionable, and it's also a knee injury for Dante Pettis. His return is questionable. Rivers started 0 for 4. Since then, he's 11 out of 13. Second down and 6. Rivers to Gordon, has some room to run. Melvin Gordon into San Francisco territory and shoved out by Exum at the 39-yard line. A gain of 16 for Melvin Gordon.
Just a subtle little wrinkle in this play where it goes in motion, and when you go in motion, you get away from the defenders who are actually supposed to maintain the outside control, and they have their eyes locked on Philip Rivers, and they don't even notice the motion with Melvin Gordon going in motion behind him.
Melvin Gordon has 8 touches in the first half. Austin Eckler still doesn't have one until now. Takes the handoff, and Eckler up to the 32-yard line. Witherspoon on the tackle as we approach 3 minutes to go.
You know, you hear people talk about when a player's been out for a while and the next player who comes in has fresh legs. And that's what both these teams do with their running backs. They keep the running backs fresh. And Austin Eckler, we talked about Burrito on the other side with an 8.6 yards per carry. Eckler came in 8.2 yards per carry.
Second in the NFL, only to Burrito. And Eckler with his second straight carry, but not much doing this time. Ronald Blair getting back there. Fred Warner also in on the stop. As you take a look at Austin Eckler. In his second NFL season after going undrafted out of Western State, had 5 touchdowns in his rookie year last season. And as we just mentioned, 8.2 yards per carry. Only Matt Breida has been better through the first 3 games. Chargers are 1 for 5 on third downs today. This is a 3rd and 2 with Melvin Gordon back in the game at running back. Rivers pass caught by Tyrell Williams, stretches out, and they are indicating it's good enough for a first down. Witherspoon had the coverage. It's the 2-minute warning here in California.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walt Disney World Resort and by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Anthony Lynn's Chargers trail the 49ers 17-6, and Anthony Lynn goes way back with the Shanahan family. In 1998, the Denver Broncos team photo, Mike Shanahan, the head coach, Anthony Lynn, the backup running back, and not pictured there, the ball boy, Kyle Shanahan, now the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. First down and 10 out of the 2-minute warning. Rivers fires, and it's caught. And that is Keenan Allen on the reception. But there's a lot of respect between Anthony Lynn and Kyle Shanahan. And in fact, Anthony Lynn said he talks to Mike Shanahan, Kyle's dad, almost every week, but said, I don't think we're going to get a call this week.
Didn't return the call this week.
Kyle said he better not get a call from my dad this week. They can talk any other week they want. There's a 3-yard gain on first down, 2nd and 7. Gordon on the handoff up the middle to the 23-yard line. It's 3rd and short for the Chargers. San Francisco has 2 timeouts remaining. Chargers have 2 timeouts remaining as well.
Now, the Chargers aren't there yet, and by there I mean the red zone. But coming into this game, Phillip Rivers in the red zone had completed 80% of his passes. He completed 10 passes. 5 of them had been touchdowns. He's already had 1 red zone touchdown to Antonio Gates early, so they're creeping close to that area.
And after a rough start, Rivers has really heated up here in the first half. Inside a minute to go. 3rd and 4. Rivers taking a shot deep down the field. Caught! Touchdown! Eckler! A 22-yard touchdown off the strike from Rivers.
When you're the quarterback, you scan the field and you're looking at those 5 receivers out there. Where's your best matchup? You see a little celebration there, but that matchup, Warner, the middle linebacker, great young athlete out of BYU, he can run, but Austin Eckler just a little bit quicker off the line of scrimmage than Warner was ready for.
James, what do you make of the decision to go for 2 here in the second quarter?
If I was head coach, I'd go for 2. Every time. But then again, I have a 5-year contract if I'm the head coach.
2 for 3 on 2-point attempts this season are the Chargers. Rivers to Gordon. Gordon is in. The 2-point conversion is good. And that makes it a 3-point game with 47 seconds to go in the second quarter. Rivers to Eckler.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's and by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 47 seconds to go. San Francisco has 2 timeouts remaining. They'll get the ball at the 25-yard line when we come back. 17-14 in favor of the 49ers. This Saturday, the best game from the best conference features 5th-ranked LSU taking on Florida. Should be a good one. Each of their last 4 meetings have been decided by a touchdown or less. The Drive to Atlanta and College Football Today bring you all you need to know beginning at 2:30 Eastern on CBS. 47 seconds to go. 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining. Their last drive, 21 plays, longest by the Niners since 1993.
That's Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
Beathard, pass over the middle is incomplete. Beathard started this game 13 of 18 for 100 yards and a touchdown. And James, your thoughts on Beathard's performance so far to this point?
You know, he's taken advantage of the open receiver. On that last play, receiver not really open, and he threw that ball low where only his receiver could get it or the defenders were not going to be able to get it. And I think Kyle Shanahan would be smart right now not to take any further risk throwing that ball late down the middle like he did right there.
Joe Staley remains out at left tackle, suffered a knee injury, so it's Gary Gilliam still playing left tackle for the 49ers. Beathard throws along the sideline. Breida has it and runs out of bounds, stopping the clock with 38 seconds to go. Don't forget, coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Our guys back in New York with scores and highlights from Week 4 around the NFL. It was a 7-yard pickup for Breida, so 3rd down and 3 for the 49ers.
So if I'm going to be chicken as a play caller like I am, you try and get the 3rd down. You also have the middle of the field to work with. 38 seconds. You have 2 timeouts. You've also got a kicker who's made, what did you say, 75,000 in a row?
32.
Like okay.
3rd and 3. Beathard on the move. Beathard just throws it away. The pressure was coming from Uchenna Nwosu. It's 4th and 3. And out comes the punter, Bradley Pinion. So good job by this Chargers defense on 3rd down. They have really struggled on 3rd downs this year. 4th worst in the league coming into the game. And the 49ers had started 4 for 6 on 3rd downs offensively. So LA gets a big stop. And we have a timeout on the field. With 30 seconds to go, Marquise Goodwin is shaken up. Marquise Goodwin was shaken up on that 3rd down play. And because of the injury inside 2 minutes, 49ers charged a timeout, so they only have 1 remaining. Desmond King is back deep to receive the punt. Travis Benjamin is active today, but he has re-aggravated that foot injury, and his return is questionable. So it's been King in the return game for LA. Second punt of the half for Bradley Pinion, the 4th-year man out of Clemson. And a good one from Pinion, driving King back to his own 13-yard line. King across the 20, has some room. Desmond King with only Pinion back. King cuts back, jumps over Pinion and trips. Wow, Desmond King almost broke that one, and Pinion was just able to alter his path. A 55-yard punt, a 56-yard return.
Pinion used every inch of his body as he was going vertical, stuck his legs out just a little bit. He didn't make contact with him with his foot, but you can see that leg going out and trying to go after the punt return.
So a huge return for King moves the Chargers already into field goal range, even though Caleb Sturgis has had his struggles. He missed from 54 earlier, also missed an extra point.
13 seconds. If you're getting the ball out quickly, you've got maybe 3 plays. Might have that last play with 2 seconds.
They do have the 2 timeouts. They can throw to the middle of the field and stop the clock. Rivers hands it off to Gordon. Gordon bounces it to the outside and now out of bounds at the 30-yard line. That stops the clock with 8 seconds to go.
Phillip Rivers is so animated. When Melvin Gordon didn't take the first cut up inside, his body is like going in, 10 different directions. So 5 seconds run off the clock, maybe 5 seconds for the next play. And you want the guys, if they catch the ball and they can't get to the end zone, to slide and get down to give themselves up.
Rivers throws it over the head of Tyrell Williams. That stops the clock with 4 seconds to go, and now they're going to have to send out Sturgis to attempt a field goal. Been a rough day already for Caleb Sturgis, although this field goal attempt was long, 54 yards. He missed it wide right, but no excuse for Sturgis on the extra point. Second straight week he's missed an extra point. And now we'll be attempting a 48-yard field goal.
He's got to draw this one back in. He's missed 2, like you said, wide right.
Sturgis kick on the way, and it is good. So the Chargers have battled back in this first half, and they go into the locker room tied at 17 with the 49ers. San Francisco will get the second half kickoff. 17 all at the half. Halftime next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Start of the third quarter here at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. 49ers and Chargers tied at 17 as we take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV. Phillip Rivers, the pick 6, and for Antone Exum, his first career interception. It was 14-0 San Francisco to start the game, but now we are tied at 17. Chargers won the opening coin toss and received. It's so rare to say that today, as most teams defer. So San Francisco gets the ball here to start the second half. And Reed on the return. DJ Reed across the 20, and Reed tripped up at the 28-yard line. Back here in the booth with James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan, and when you go back at that first half, all the momentum on San Francisco's side to start the game.
For 28 minutes.
Yeah, and then LA really flipped the script.
And that's what Philip Rivers is so good at. We talked about how proficient he is in the red zone. Coming in, 80% of his passes completed in the red zone, 10 completions, 5 touchdowns. He had a red zone touchdown to Gates, and then the 22-yard touchdown pass to Austin Eckler.
20!
Beathard 14-21 for 108 yards in the first half, and they start this half on the ground with Matt Breida. So take a look at some of the numbers from the first half. The 1 turnover, the pick 6 by Rivers. It led to 7 points, and ran the same amount of plays in that first half. Dominated by San Francisco early. Chargers with some momentum here to start the second half.
And the Chargers missed a field goal, missed a PAT, but that punt return was huge for the special teams unit.
2nd down and 8. Beathard, quick pass incomplete. And Beathard took a shot from Damian Square. Brings up 3rd down and 8.
You know, it's interesting. You look at Philip Rivers on one side and then Beathard on the other side. You say, okay, Beathard's young and he's flexible. We don't mind if he gets knocked down. But Philip Rivers, maybe the officials treasure him just a little bit more when he's standing back there in the pocket.
Joe Staley is still not back in the game. It's Gilliam at left tackle. Staley injured in the first half with a knee injury. San Francisco 4 of 7 on 3rd downs in the opening half.
There's Derwin James.
Beathard chased by Ingram, and James as well, and they combine on the sack. Ingram and James bring down Beathard, and that is the pressure Chargers fans have been dying for in the first quarter of this season.
We haven't talked much about Joey Bosa, who's out with a foot injury, but Derwin James gives them that dynamic playmaker. When he dropped in the draft to where the Chargers were able to get him, they thought that they had a top 5 talent. You know, everybody's looking at all the quarterbacks that came out, but he is a difference maker. You can see that with his impact for Chargers today.
First sack by either team today. Now the punt from Pinion to Desmond King, who had a great return of 56 yards last time. This time from his own 29. Still on his feet to the 40. King finally wrapped up right near midfield. So Desmond King has provided a spark in the return game, a return of 21 yards. Early 3rd quarter tied at 17. Injuries becoming a storyline here. Russell Okung at the end of the first half limped to the locker room. He's on the sideline but is not coming out for this series. Chargers have brought in Trent Scott. He'll play right tackle with Sam Tevy moving from right tackle to left tackle for Anthony Lynn's group.
So it's a double switch. Normally you like maybe one position, but they've switched both their tackles in this instance.
Chargers have not given us an update yet on the injury to Okung. We'll keep you posted. On 1st down, a handoff to Melvin Gordon, and Gordon gets a yard. Meanwhile, on the San Francisco sideline, we told you about the knee injuries in the first half to both Joe Staley and Dante Pettis. They have both been ruled out for the rest of the game. So you'll see Gilliam at left tackle. And now we're being told that the right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, for the 49ers, has a knee injury, and his return is questionable. So both offensive lines affected by injuries here today. 2nd down and 9 from midfield for Philip Rivers. Rivers looking for Williams, and a great adjustment for the catch. Tyrell Williams with a highlight reel grab and a gain of 24. He went over Jimmy Ward to make the catch.
6'4" versus 5'10", but not only that, he almost uses Jimmy Ward's back as a backstop as that ball's coming in. Reaches over his helmet, pulls it off. Jimmy Ward's going, what just happened here? I had great coverage, great position, and you come up with the ball. No way.
fourth play of at least 20 yards for the Chargers. They lead the NFL in that department.
48. Delta. Son.
Gordon trying the left side, hit by Malcolm Smith. He bounces off of him, and Gordon still going, still on his feet. What a run from Melvin Gordon. A gain of 13, and it looked like he should have been stopped multiple times. And now behind the play, we have an injured 49er down on the field. It's Solomon Thomas. So the 49er staff is out to attend to Thomas, and we'll be back in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Uber. Doors are always opening. Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by Corona Extra. Find your beach.
Keeping track of the injuries, Solomon Thomas slowly walked off the field to the 49ers sideline. We'll get an update on him as soon as possible. It's a groin injury for that man, Russell Okung. His return is questionable. After the big play by Gordon, a 13-yard run. It's 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. Rivers out of the shotgun. Rivers, pump fakes. Now moving right. Throws on the run, and it's incomplete. Tried to connect with Melvin Gordon. It's 2nd down. Eric Armstead was chasing Rivers on that 1st down play.
Fast enough just not to get caught. That's what Philip Rivers is.
His 196th consecutive start in the red zone today. They have one touchdown.
48 Spike.
Got their fullback in.
380. Good.
Gordon dances his way to the 10 and fighting his way for some extra yards. It'll be 3rd down for LA.
Pick up 5. You know, and it's kind of the next thing that the Chargers like to do is they like to work in combinations, whether it's Keenan Allen and Antonio Gates or Antonio Gates and Melvin Gordon. They like to put players in combinations so that they can then work on matchups.
This is Gates on the field here. He already has a touchdown. Chargers 3 for their last 3 on 3rd downs. It's 3rd and 4. Rivers to Gordon at the 2. Gordon spins in for the score. Touchdown LA. They huddle up for a picture, and it's the 4th consecutive scoring drive for the Chargers as they have taken the lead 23-17.
If you're going to play zone coverage and rush 4 linemen or even 3 and you don't get to Philip Rivers, he's going to find that small little window to throw the ball in and beat you. You have to put pressure on him. You have to make him get the ball out of his hands before he wants to.
5th touchdown this season for Melvin Gordon, and Sturgis misses another. This is unbelievable. Although, you know what? It's starting to become believable if you're a Chargers fan. Melvin Gordon with his 5th touchdown of the season. It gives the Chargers a 23-17 lead. Since 2016, only Todd Gurley has more touchdowns than Melvin Gordon. But Caleb Sturgis misses his 3rd extra point in the last 2 weeks as he kicks it away to DJ Reed, who will return this one. Reed with a head of steam across the 20, and Reed thrown down with a late flag coming in from behind the play. Reed tackled at the 27.
Well, Adrian Phillips from the Chargers, number 31, was tackled before the ball carrier was tackled.
During the return, holding by the return team, number 88. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. San Francisco's ball, 1st down.
We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm. Beathard throwing on first down and completes it to Pierre Garcon. And the good news for the 49ers is that Mike McGlinchey is back at right tackle. We told you he had a knee injury, questionable to return, but he is out there at right tackle. And James, got to go back to the missed extra point. Have the Chargers reached the point where now they're just going to go for two?
I think you are talking about it on the sideline. I saw Anthony Lynn and the offensive coordinator, Kurt Wisenhunt, talking about that, what I think is that issue.
As Beathard lays in a beautiful pass to Pierre Garcon. 23-yard pickup for the veteran Garcon.
Great crossing route. Garcon kind of sneaking his way underneath the linebacker and then gaining some depth because you had a great runoff by Trent Taylor. The other wide receiver ran off the defenders in that deep third area.
Beathard going back to the air. Pressure coming. Throws over the middle. Caught by Kendrick Bourne. And a late flag comes in.
And
Beathard took a shot again. I believe it was Kyle Emanuel.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer defense. Number 51. Hit to the quarterback's knee area. 15 yards added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
It was Emanuel, and now a 30-yard pickup on that play. 15 through the air and 15 on the penalty against the Chargers linebacker.
And Kyle Emanuel is going, well, I was kind of blocked and knocked off balance. You still cannot go low at that knee area of the quarterback, even if you've been blocked a little bit, because he wasn't pushed directly into him.
On this drive, all three plays have been passes. The Niners have a lot of confidence in C.J. Beathard. Beathard in trouble, throws it up in the air, and Juszczyk has it! And a late flag again as Beathard is drilled by Melvin Ingram.
Big hit, but it's going to be a body weight call because he just drives him into the turf, doesn't make an attempt to stay off of him.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 54. Half the distance to the goal, added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
There is the call on Ingram. The body weight, as you said, the point of emphasis this year. Not a new rule, but a point of emphasis. We've seen it called 13 times, just the body weight in the first 3 weeks, and it's called here.
And even if Beathard had held on to the ball, the body weight issue still would have been there. That still would have been relevant. And it's so tough for the defenders. They want them to really almost slide to a side, wrap and roll, or do something differently than just taking your body weight, pounding that guy into the turf.
First and goal for the Niners. Beathard throws, deflected and picked off. It's Trevor Williams with blocking. Williams still in bounds and still going. Williams finally tackled inside the 5. Gilliam saved a touchdown. What a play, a 94-yard return.
When you're playing zone, you have the ability to watch the quarterback, and when that ball gets deflected up in the air, goes off the shoulder pad of Garrett Selleck, and it just bounces right into his hands, and Beathard does a great job in trying to slow him down just enough, and he even runs through that tackle.
Williams somehow manages to stay in bounds, and they now have said he went out at the 12. So they lose a few yards. As we'll take another look.
Yeah, all turnovers are reviewed, so they'll look at how well he walked the tightrope stand down there, because when Beathard is on him, it looks like he's really close to the line.
They are checking in replay to see where he went out.
Is that right foot? That right foot was close, but I don't think it was out of bounds at that point. Here it is again. Watch his right foot as it comes down, and that looks like that's next foot. That's close, but not definitive.
First interception of the season for Trevor Williams, the third of his career, the third-year man out of Penn State. That looked to be very close at the 31-yard line, but not definitive. And since he wasn't called out on the field, you'd need that conclusive evidence to bring this one back to the 31. They've now said it's good to go at the 12-yard line, so it's an 86-yard return, and the Chargers take over offensively in the red zone. 8:40 to go, third quarter. Melvin Gordon. And Gordon gets a yard on the play. Well, that looked to be such an impressive drive for the 49ers. A couple of penalties helped them out along the way, and then off Selleck's hands and into the arms of Trevor Williams, and a big play in this game.
But a couple of chunk throws, you throw in that interception return, and then you take the punt return at the end of the half. So a couple of times when you would have been able to keep points off the scoreboard, you haven't been able to do it. Tough position for the 49er defense right here.
Russell Okung still on the sideline with a groin injury. Second down and 8. Rivers with pressure coming, gets rid of it to Gordon, and Gordon lost the football. San Francisco at the 1-yard line, insisting they have it. No signal yet. Were they inbounds or out of bounds?
Yeah, if they are out of bounds, touching the ball inbounds, it's a dead ball. It'll come back to the point where the ball was fumbled. It looked like the 49ers, there were so many of them close to the boundary, somebody who might have touched the ball might have been out of bounds.
Phillip Rivers indicating it'll stay with LA.
The ball was fumbled by the Los Angeles runner. The San Francisco player that attempted to recover it was out of bounds. This is a fumble forward out of bounds. The ball will be brought back to the spot of the fumble. It's Los Angeles' ball.
Now Kyle Shanahan will take a close look at this replay along with his staff up here in the coaching booth.
Well, the thing about this, if this ball had gone into the end zone, through the end zone, then it would have been a touchback. But once you're out of bounds and you touch the ball, now the ball's out of bounds in addition. So it's going to come back to the spot of the fumble.
Melvin Gordon only had one fumble last year and has not lost a fumble since October of 2016. And that streak stays intact as the ball was recovered out of bounds. It'll stay with LA, and now 3rd and 5. And now Kyle Shanahan will challenge. He has thrown the red flag. He got some good air on that toss. The flag is right at the 0 of the 20-yard line. So Kyle's been working out, throwing the challenge flag. He's 1 for 1 this year on challenges.
San Francisco has challenged a ruling on the field that the ball was first touched by an out-of-bounds player from San Francisco. We'll review the play.
Shanahan hoping it comes back in his favor. One last look as we go to break. We'll come back with the decision right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Here to help life go right. And by KFC. Try KFC's new Hot Honey Chicken today.
Back in Los Angeles, one more look, and the decision goes against the 49ers. They have confirmed the call in replay, so Kyle Shanahan loses the challenge. The ball stays with LA, and it's 3rd down and 5 from the 7-yard line. The Chargers have to get to the 2 to pick up a first down.
It's what we thought from the very beginning, a body part out of bounds, touching the ball that's inbounds, but kind of a worthy challenge by Kyle Shanahan because you would have gotten possession of the football if it had fallen in your favor, but also slow down the Chargers' momentum a little bit here.
3rd down and 5 with Tyrell Williams in motion. Rivers throws incomplete, looking for Melvin Gordon. Good coverage there by Reuben Foster. And now out comes Caleb Sturgis, who's had a rough day. In fact, he hears some boos as he runs out onto the field to attempt this short field goal. Sturgis has missed from 54 yards, and he's also missed 2 extra points. This one will be from 25 yards away. and it would make it a 2-possession game. And Sturgis is good. With 7:44 to go third quarter, it's now 26-17. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm. (26-17). Chargers have now scored on 5 straight scoring drives, and it's a 26-3 scoring run for LA. San Francisco is up 14-0 since then. It's been all Rivers and the Chargers. Sturgis connects on his second field goal of the day. He's now 2 for 3. And C.J. Beathard getting ready to go back to work after the red zone interception. Injury update for the Chargers. Travis Benjamin will not return. He is out for the game with a foot injury. DJ Reed, the return man. He's going to take this one out again. Reed is not shy about doing that. He's tackled just short of the 25-yard line. CBS's Super Bowl season continues Sunday when Jacksonville takes on Kansas City. James and I will be in Cleveland as the Ravens take on the Browns, and Oakland battles these LA Chargers. The day kicks off with the NFL Today at noon Eastern.
Coaches love to break the season up into quarters. Anthony Lynn talked about it, getting through this first quarter and being realistic with his team that 2-2 is the objective when you're sitting there at 1-2, so partway there.
Beathard to Goodwin, and it's incomplete. It'll be second down and 10. 49ers have had some September struggles on the road. They've lost 8 in a row in September away from home. Their last road win was week 1 of the 2014 season in Dallas. But in some ways, it might feel like a home game with all the San Francisco fans that have made the trip here to Carson. A lot of red in attendance on second and 10 with 7.5 to go in the third quarter. Beathard chased, and he's going to keep it himself and tripped up by Derwin James. It'll be third and long for San Francisco.
Melvin Ingram makes the first move when he comes off the edge right there. And then behind him is Derwin James. So you don't get any easy assignments when you get those two guys stacked next to each other. And C.J. Beathard dives forward, picks up about 1.5 yards. Critical third down situation here because you don't want to put the ball back in the hands of Philip Rivers, who's just starting to heat up and he's getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
On third and 8, Beathard completes it to Taylor. Taylor tackled just short of the first down by Trevor Williams. And I mean just short. That was a good spot for San Francisco, but it is fourth down.
And they are leaving the offense out there momentarily. Kyle Shanahan, offensive play caller, and also the head coach.
But now Pinion, the punter, is coming out.
Yeah, and in the open field, Trevor Williams, who just had the interception return, comes up with a big stop to really just crush the 49ers momentum.
You know Kyle Shanahan does not want to give the ball back to Philip Rivers, but 6 minutes to go third quarter at your own 33. Tough spot to go for it there. Instead, it's the fourth punt today for Pinion. King from the 20. King is tackled at the 24-yard line. 5:54 to go third quarter. Chargers lead 26-17.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's. Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by the new super powerful Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Super Bowl 29 in Miami, the 49ers defeating the Chargers. Steve Young threw a record 6 touchdown passes in that one. C.J. Beathard, the grandson of former Chargers general manager Bobby Beathard. CJ grew up a huge Chargers fan. He went to a lot of games. He was homeschooled, so he was able to travel to games. He remembers when the late Junior Seau was at his grandfather's house one day when CJ was there playing. So ironic that his first start of this season comes against his favorite team growing up. 1st and 10 for the Chargers. Rivers throws, and it is caught by Mike Williams. What a catch by Williams. A gain of 15.
Big body Mike Williams was injured all of last year, had a back injury, got to play, but he said this past offseason, he didn't miss a beat. OTAs, mini camps, and Philip Rivers remarked about it, that it was finally good to kind of get that connection with him. And in tight coverage like that, you can see that trust factor is growing.
First catch today for Mike Williams, who had 2 touchdowns last week. Eckler on the carry, out to the 44-yard line. 49ers have apparently made a change in their secondary. It's had a rough start to the year, their secondary. Right now, Jimmy Ward is on the sideline, the starting cornerback. 49ers tell us there's no injury, so it's Witherspoon and Greg Mabin in at cornerback right now for San Francisco.
And I think what they're trying to do is just find that combination, something that might work. These big receivers for the Chargers can out-muscle just about anybody else.
2nd down and 5. Eckler remains the running back. Thomas coming with pressure, and Rivers is sacked. Sheldon Day gets that sack for the 49ers. First sack today against Philip Rivers.
Good coverage, obviously, down the field, and the front 4 just do a great job in pursuing, collapsing the pocket, because Philip Rivers is trying to hold the ball. Look at the depth of the routes, trying to hit Austin Eckler, who was crossing the field, and he didn't have enough time. So great job pursuing, getting after the quarterback, and taking him down in a nice, soft fashion.
They split the sack between Day and Eric Armstead, and now it's 3rd and 13. Play clock at 1. Rivers just gets it off. Rivers throws, and it's incomplete. Looking for Tyrell Williams, and it's 4th and long. So the San Francisco defense comes up with a big stop here late in the 3rd quarter. This is just the 2nd punt today for Drew Kaiser. And Trent Taylor is back deep to receive it for San Francisco.
He's going to be staring up into a little bit of sun here.
Taylor, fair catch at the 15. Philip Rivers and the Chargers still on top here in LA.
All eyes on me.
Chargers lead by 9 over the 49ers, and since the 21-play drive by San Francisco, they've had 4 possessions, 3 punts, and the red zone interception. CJ Beathard trying to get them going here with 3:37 to go in the 3rd. Breida on 1st down, running left. And Breida did not turn the corner. Melvin Ingram on the tackle. Breida's been held in check today. 7 carries for just 19 yards. Came into the day tied for 1st in the NFL in rushing yards with Ezekiel Elliott, but the Chargers have done a tremendous job shutting down the run. As a team, San Francisco has just 37 yards rushing.
Hut! Like 20! Hut!
Beathard throwing on 2nd down. Wide open is Kittle. Kittle into Chargers territory. Kittle, does he have the speed to get there? Kittle at the 10, 5, touchdown! What a play! 82 yards! Teammates at Iowa, CJ Beathard and George Kittle, and they hook up for a huge play in LA.
And one of the route combination that gets is this one. But Kittle does this, and then he comes back to the inside. So watch this nice move. Just a small little wrinkle, big result.
His first touchdown of the season, third of his career. Now the extra point for Robbie Gould is good. C.J. Beathard with an 82-yard touchdown to George Kittle. And how big are those two missed extra points right now for Sturgis? We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Progressive Insurance. It's actually not the longest pass of Beathard's career at the 83-yard touchdown last year to Marquise Goodwin. But Kittle brings San Francisco to within 2. Mentioned the 2 missed extra points by Sturgis. Now a field goal would give San Francisco the lead. Desmond King will take a knee. It's a touchback. Let's take a look at some of the early headlines from the 1 o'clock games Eastern time. And well, so much concern about the Patriots. No such concern after this game as they just pounded the undefeated Dolphins with a big win in Foxborough. How about Mitchell Trubisky leading the Bears to a huge win over Tampa Bay? 6 touchdowns for Trubisky, and A.J. Green with a touchdown in the final seconds to beat the Falcons.
The Bears could be scary if they can match that offense, which is the defense that they can put out there.
So now Rivers in L.A. back to work with 2:50 to go, third quarter. Melvin Gordon on first down and tackled from behind by Armstead. Some more numbers from the early NFL games. You see Trubisky, 354 yards and 6 touchdowns. Dallas was able to pull out a late win against Detroit. Rivers has thrown for exactly 200 yards. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. It was a pick 6 by Exum. Gordon now to the left side, following Sam Tevi's block, and Gordon has a first down. How about an NFL Today update? JB and Nate.
Raiders have battled from 14 back.
That's right, after the Browns fumbled the snap, taking advantage of the turnover. Derek Carr has Jordy Nelson on the skinny post. The Raiders take the lead 31-28.
Third touchdown strike of the day for Derek Carr. Back to Andrew and James.
All right, guys, and the Raiders will be here in L.A. next week to face the Chargers.
See that touchdown throw came in the infield area? You know that the defender can't plant and drive on that slippery dirt.
It's a play fake. Rivers looking for Eckler, and it's incomplete, and Exum was closing quickly again. Antone Exum, we mentioned this earlier, he was questionable to play today because of a thigh bruise that popped up late in the week. And he's had a great game for the 49ers, the pick 6, the highlight.
And he's listed at safety, but he's playing more strong side linebacker in their big nickel package. And by big nickel, you instead of a tiny little defensive back, you put him in, and he lines up at the linebacker position, so he's in and around the line of scrimmage. It's causing Philip Rivers a lot of problems.
Richard Sherman not playing today. Jimmy Ward is back in the game at corner, along with Maben. Right now it's Witherspoon that's not out there, so they continue to rotate in the secondary. Rivers taking a deep shot down the field and incomplete. Looking for Mike Williams. And now Philip Rivers is 1 for his last 5 passing.
Philip Rivers kind of just looked up to the sky and just said, golly, I didn't know I could throw it that far. That ball had a nice tight spiral on it, just kept going and going and going, and Mike Williams couldn't even run it down.
Ken Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, came into the game averaging 6.8 yards per play, second best in the NFL.
DeForest Buckner has 3.5 sacks, had 3 in the first game. The pass rush threat against your backup tackle.
3rd and 10, here comes the blitz. Chargers pick it up, Rivers throws, incomplete. Looking for Keenan Allen. And in the coverage on the play by Greg Maben, who's getting some big snaps here in the second half for San Francisco.
Rivers could feel the pressure that flushed him out of the pocket, got that ball out of his hands too early. Keenan Allen had not taken his route to full extension. You can see the ball is low and inside. Great pressure by the 49ers.
San Francisco defense has come on strong here. Last couple of possessions for Rivers. And now Kaiser punting away to Trent Taylor with a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Taylor from his own 19. And Taylor tackled at the 25-yard line. And now we'll wait to hear the call from Ron Torbert. Each team has been penalized 4 times so far today.
Holding by the kicking team, number 48. San Francisco has elected to add that 10-yard penalty to the end of the play. It's San Francisco's ball, first down.
Penalty on Nick DeZubnar, the linebacker for the Chargers. C.J. Beathard, his first start of the season, he's looked pretty good. 20 of 30, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick.
Like he told us in our meetings last year, his rookie year was all about kind of learning the playbook. And in the second year, while he's been watching Garoppolo play, he's figuring out what defenses like to do against the things that he's learned from the playbook.
And Matt Breida said this week you can tell that he's more confident in the play calling. And as you mentioned, James, Beathard told us, last year I was getting to the line and still thinking about what play I was going to, what route the guys were going to run. Now I've learned the language, were the words Beathard used. That pass was incomplete off the hands of Garcon in traffic.
He threw that one into a sticky little triangle there. There was Garcon, and then there were 3 LA Chargers around him. And then when they build a bracket around your guys like that, you got to be careful about throwing the ball in there.
Garcon 4 catches for 52 yards. .103 to go, third quarter. A 2-point game here in LA.
20.
Beathard pump fakes, eludes the rush, steps up and keeps it himself. What a play by Beathard. Right to the sticks. We're going to go right back to New York. An NFL Today update.
An impressive scoring drive by Josh Allen.
That's right. The football gods giveth and they taketh away. Rosen gets his first NFL TD to Chad Williams, but on the same play, we lose Earl Thomas, who was carted off the field.
Thank you for that correction there, Nate. Back to Andrew.
All right, guys, and on 3rd and 1, the Niners are able to move the chains. Well, we mentioned this before, but C.J. Beathard, he was told by Kyle Shanahan, unless it's 4th down and the game's on the line, don't run the football. I didn't listen that previous play, and it was able to be a 9-yard gain.
Andrew, but if you're a defender and that quarterback is barreling at you, you just believe he's going to slide. So you almost instinctively back off a little bit because you don't want the roughing the penalty against them, and Beathard took advantage of their hesitation.
End of the third quarter, Chargers 26, Niners 24 on CBS. It's been a roller coaster affair here in LA. San Francisco jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Chargers stormed back, but now the lead is down to 2. With James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan. We thank you for joining us. Week 4 of the NFL on CBS. Start of the fourth quarter, and Matt Breida finally breaks free. Matt Breida's been held in check until that run, a gain of 11.
You know, sometimes when you have a break, the offensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan, will get on the headsets and go, what's our best run? He'd be talking to the offensive line coach. He says, well, this is what I think it is. 21 personnel with their lead fullback in. Just a straight power play right up the middle.
1st and 10 from the 42. Play fake. Beathard wanted to go deep. Nobody there. Now it's the middle of the field. Caught. Kendrick Bourne with a sliding grab. Bourne is impressed today. That's his 3rd catch.
Great job by C.J. Beathard, because once he got out of the pocket, he wanted to hit somebody deeper. But Bourne does a nice job getting back into his quarterback's vision and connecting on this big chunk play.
Beathard back to the air, pressure coming, Beathard steps up, and Beathard is hit hard at the 22, but was able to avoid the sack again, and now there's an injured 49er down at the 30-yard line. And that is Matt Breida, who came into the game with a hyperextended knee, was questionable to play. And he is in a lot of pain here early in the fourth quarter. We'll step aside, come back to LA in a moment. The San Francisco training staff was looking at the shoulder of Matt Breida. He'll be on the sideline for this 2nd down and 8 play. Alfred Morris comes in, takes the handoff, and Morris tackled at the 19. Kyle Emanuel in on the tackle after a gain of 3. And it brings up 3rd down. So far today, the 49ers 5 for 10 on 3rd downs. They are in field goal range, and again with 2 missed extra points today by Chargers kicker Caleb Sturgis. A field goal here would give San Francisco the lead, but they're thinking more.
What C.J. Beathard can't do is hold it too long in the pocket. Get the ball out of your hands.
Holding onto it, and Beathard still on his feet, did not go down. Scrambling, and Beathard takes a big shot, and he is hit very hard right near the chains. Casey Hayward had the hit. This is exactly what Kyle Shanahan told Beathard not to do. And again, easier said than done in the heat of the moment on 3rd down. But he did not want to see number 4, Nick Mullins, have to come into this game. And there is Mullins, who was elevated off the practice squad on Wednesday, trying to get ready in a hurry.
I thought Beathard was tangled up and done with right there when he was in the middle of the pocket. Melvin Ingram couldn't pull him down. And then a clean shot by Casey Hayward, because he puts the shoulder into him. You see him turn his head away, puts the shoulder in, and Beathard is just trying to get that 1st down and extend the ball past the down and distance marker. But he has to realize that he's more important than a 1st down.
And so Nick Mullins, who's never appeared in an NFL game and was called up off the practice squad on Wednesday when the Niners put Jimmy Garoppolo on injured reserve, is getting loosened up as the 49ers training staff attends to C.J. Beathard.
Yeah, he should definitely take some snaps on the sideline. This is probably the first time Nick Mullins has also had his game uniform on. He's had that preseason uniform on, but never a regular season uniform on. And here's Beathard once again barreling for the 1st down, and he extends himself, and it almost looks like he picked up the 1st down, but a body part was down right there. That's really close.
Beathard is up, walking toward the sideline. And now a challenge flag has been thrown by Kyle Shanahan because the spot was marked short of a 1st down, and Shanahan is challenging the spot.
San Francisco has challenged the spot with respect to the 1st down line. We'll review the play.
Watch when his hip goes down. Where is the ball? It's short of the line to gain, I think.
He reaches out.
Yeah, but his hip has already touched, just short.
Very close. We'll come back with the decision right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing. And by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Ron Torbert continues to communicate with NFL Replay Command back in New York. We have not had a decision yet as Kyle Shanahan has challenged the spot of where Beathard was hit and tackled. And the good news for San Francisco, it appears Beathard is actually okay. He was trying to throw some footballs during this stoppage. So if indeed he is okay, he is allowed to go back in the game. Let's get the call first here from Ron Torbert.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The quarterback was down with the ball short of the line to gain. San Francisco will be charged with its 2nd time out of the half. San Francisco is out of challenges for the remainder of the game. The clock will start on the snap.
2nd time this half that Shanahan has lost a challenge, so he's out of challenges, only 1 timeout left. And he's going to send out his field goal unit. This was Beathard a moment ago on the sideline. And they put the medical tent up. to further evaluate the 49ers quarterback. But right now they're going to send out Robbie Gould to attempt a field goal. And this would give San Francisco the lead. It's from 33 yards away. Gould is 1 for 1 today. He's made 32 field goals in a row. Make it 33. And with 12:39 to go in the fourth quarter, San Francisco has regained the lead by 1. And James, this has been a wild one in Carson.
It really has, and I look at a couple of plays. Obviously, the interception that Phillip Rivers starts the game off with. The punt return that the Chargers are able to get to close out the half where they score 10 points in under the last 2 minutes. And then the long interception return that gets run back when it looked like the 49ers had kind of crawled back in and then they lost that. It seemed like they were out of it. Now you blink your eyes a couple of times and you click your heels and they're in front in the ball game.
And of course, what's looming from a Chargers perspective is the uncertainty around their kicker. Caleb Sturgis has missed 2 extra points today. He's 2 of 3 on field goals, but if it comes down to a 4th down play or a potential go-ahead field goal, how much confidence does Anthony Lynn have in this man right now? We're about to find out. Still plenty of time to go, 12:39 in the fourth quarter. Desmond King has had a very nice day on special teams for the Chargers. Awaits the kick from Pinion. And it will be a touchback. So Phillip Rivers will go back to work, now trailing by 1. Rivers has thrown 4 straight incompletions, and he's 1 for his last 6.
It's almost as if the 49ers have alternated things that they're going to do on defense by possession. Sometimes they want to come with just 4 rushers. Other times they're going to bring 6. They're going to bring extra pressure. So I want to look at this front, try and see if Phillip Rivers can read the extra pressure or if they're just going to bring 4 pass rushers.
The corners are Witherspoon and Maben. Rivers throwing on first down, completes it. And that is Keenan Allen bringing it in. The nickel, K'Wan Williams, makes the tackle. And for Keenan Allen, that's his 6th catch today. A gain of 8.
Remember, we have had a shuffling of the offensive tackles. When you start this game off, you've got your starter, Russell Okung, at left tackle. Now, you've moved Sam Tevi, who started at right tackle, to left. And Trent Scott has moved to right tackle. So you also want to protect those guys. You want to protect them with tight ends on their side.
Groin injury for Okung has not returned. Rivers on 2nd and 2. Throwing again for Allen, who makes a nice catch. Tackle made by Witherspoon. We go back to New York. NFL Today update with JB and Nate.
Seattle game winner.
That's right. Savannah Janikowski kicked the grass. Seabass 52-yarders for the game winner. Seahawks go on to win 20-17.
Andrew and James.
Big win there for Seattle. Now Keenan Allen hobbles off to the sideline in some pain. Meanwhile, we're being told that C.J. Beathard had the wind knocked out of him, but he will return for San Francisco when they go back on offense. It's 1st and 10. Gordon flips it to Eckler. Eckler trying to get around the edge. He does. Has blockers in room. And Eckler with a first down run. Foster on the stop for San Francisco, but Eckler gains 11.
There was almost a tackle at the mesh point when Melvin Gordon's handing this ball off. It's a little soft toss. He just lobs it up in the air. And then there's an obvious block in the back and a hole outside that wasn't called. And Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers sideline, they are irate right now.
Kyle Shanahan still talking about it. I think he has a gripe, as you pointed out, and Keenan Allen remains out on the sideline. 1st and 10. From the 45-yard line. Rivers to Gordon. Gordon is tackled at the 39, a gain of 6.
How about that arm angle on that throw? Phillip Rivers threw that ball below his waist, almost like a submarine. Yeah, this is below the waistline. Whoop. And you're rushing him, and you're expecting the arm to come up, and you're going to get your hands up. Phillip Rivers, so many different angles he can throw that ball at you.
Dodgers won today. They're going to play for the division tomorrow. Maybe he can come out of the bullpen with that sidearm action.
He'd love to.
Hands off to Gordon here, following the block of Tyrell Williams. Gordon cuts it upfield. Melvin Gordon still going. It's still going. Gordon is finally brought down inside the 5. What a run from Melvin Gordon. And it's 1st and goal.
The 49ers came to this game having missed more tackles than any team in the league. Now, Melvin Gordon on that run, he would have broken a lot of tackles from any team in the league. So a little bit of it's on the 49ers, but a lot of it is on the extra effort that Melvin Gordon put into that run.
A season-long 34-yard run from Melvin Gordon. He brings the ball inside the 5 where it's 1st and goal. Gordon comes out. Eckler is in. They pitch it to Eckler running left. And Eckler is tackled for a loss.
You know, this is just a great job of getting some initial penetration. Cassius Marsh defeats the block of the wide receiver, which is never a good thing to do, have your wide receivers blocking defensive ends. But they're trying to run that toss play, get 2 down blocks, pull the guard or tackle around. No dice.
Keenan Allen was out there for 1st and goal, but now he comes back off as the Chargers have both Gordon and Eckler in the game. Eckler lined up as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. 2nd and goal. Eckler in motion. Rivers looking to throw to Gordon at the 5. Gordon with a stiff arm. Gordon still moving the legs and tackled at the 3-yard line. It's 3rd down.
If you are the 2nd or 3rd guy coming in to be in on the tackle on Melvin Gordon, you got to try and punch the ball out because he gives so much effort. He exposes himself just a little bit. He tries to keep that ball as high and as tight as he can. But that 2nd guy, they're going to try and punch the ball out. You saw on the spin move where he fumbled earlier near the goal line. So much effort. Protect the football first.
Antonio Gates lined up at the top of your screen. Always a threat here, close to the goal line. 3rd and goal. Rivers throws incomplete. He was looking for Gates, and he got tangled up with Keenan Allen. Greg Mabin was the defender there, and now it's 4th down.
And there can be no complaint by the Chargers because this happens behind the line of scrimmage. Watch Gates and see the block by Keenan Allen. So Gates, who's behind the line of scrimmage, there's no pass interference there. The Chargers tried to take advantage of the rules that says you can block on the line of scrimmage. Keenan Allen goes out to block. Gates tries to slip under him. They call it scissors.
And now they hold their breath on a field goal attempt for Sturgis. 21 yards away. Sturgis is good. And with 7:41 to go in the 4th, LA back on top. It's 29-27 on CBS. CJ Beathard has his helmet on. It appears he's going to come back in. As we told you, had the wind knocked out of him on the last drive, but appears to be okay and will come back now trailing by 2 with 7:41 to go. It is DJ Reed back deep to receive the kickoff from Sturgis, who just gave the Chargers the lead. Keep in mind, San Francisco has lost 2 challenges in this half. So they're out of challenges and they only have 1 timeout remaining. It's Reed on the return. Reed lost the football. The Chargers think they have it, and they do. Nick Dzubnar scooped up the loose football. And a killer turnover by the rookie, DJ Reed.
Now, Kyle Shanahan won't have to worry about trying to use a challenge, but he's going to look at the same thing with Dzubnar out of bounds when he finally got possession of the ball. That's what he's talking about. All turnovers are automatically reviewed upstairs. I think he has it inbounds right there. 2 feet, 1 foot, makes a football move. He has it before he slides out of bounds.
Did he have control as he was going down? Dzubnar, that is. I don't know.
Yeah. This Kyle Shanahan is just trying to spend as much time on the field as he can so that they can possibly finish looking at this upstairs.
Fumble recovered by Los Angeles will be reviewed.
Not reviewed because of Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
He's unable to challenge, as we had just mentioned. He's out of challenges.
And
but because it's a turnover, it's subject to review.
And I think, Andrew, you're right. Your eyes are a little bit better than mine. He does not have control of this. He's bobbling it as he goes out of bounds and lands on the white stripe.
So Ron Torbert, the referee, will now communicate with Al Riveron in the replay command center back in New York. Chargers offense is on the field.
See, I always wonder about this. If you really want to make the statement that you believe that you have the ball, from the 49ers, I trot my offense out there onto the field.
Send a little message.
Yeah. Send a message to Al Riveron back in New York. Look, Al, look what's going on here. We know we have the ball. We're going to send our offense out here.
Our rules analyst, Gene Steratore, back in New York. And Gene, what did you see on this play?
Remember, with recovering a fumble, same rules apply as possessing a pass. 2 feet, possession, time to make a football move. All of those things have to happen in order for this fumble recovery to happen. There is no possession prior to him going out of bounds. So what we're going to end up with is basically a fumble forward out of bounds. The ball is going to be returned back to the offense to the spot of the fumble, and then it will be the next down or second down for San Francisco.
The ruling on the field has changed. The Los Angeles runner did not complete the process of possessing the ball before landing out of bounds. It'll be San Francisco's ball, 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. Please set the game clock to 7 minutes, 35 seconds, please. 7:35 on the game clock. It'll start on the snap.
Gene Steratore, we saw it the same way as you. You were all over it, and that is, in fact, what they do announce. It's San Francisco football.
You know, it's funny. The officials stayed at the same hotel we did. And this morning I saw Ron Torbert in the hotel, and he actually slipped up when he called the Chargers for the wrong city. And he said he hoped he didn't do it today. And when he heard that crowd noise, he probably thought he was actually in San Francisco. I mean, that's the loudest cheer we've heard all day long.
So a huge break for San Francisco as they maintain possession, 1st down and 10 with 7.5 to go. C.J. Beathard back at quarterback and under center. They'll hand off on 1st down to Breida. And Breida slips through a few tackles and gets out to the 24-yard line. Kyle Emanuel on the stop. Credit to the Chargers defense. They've done a very good job slowing down this San Francisco ground game, which came in averaging 152 yards per game, but today just 75 on the ground. Beathard looking to throw. As time, airs it out for Kittle, and it's incomplete. That was a dangerous pass as Derwin James was lurking. And now 3rd and 3.
When you have a shutdown corner, you kind of have a no-throw area. When you have Derwin James, you find out where he is on the field, and that becomes a no-throw area. He almost got back, almost got a hand on that, and if he had gotten a complete hand on it, he might have been able to pull that one down one hand.
See what the 49ers do here play calling-wise on 3rd and 3. They're 1 for their last 6 converting 3rd downs. Now Breida goes out to the top of your screen. Beathard looking to throw over the middle, deflected up in the air, and incomplete. Nearly intercepted, and now 4th down. And Kyle Shanahan will send out Bradley Pinion, his punter.
I was a little surprised with that man-to-man coverage that Beathard did not pull the ball down and just try and run for it, because there's a gap opening right in front of him that he could have run for it. That tight coverage on Pierre Garçon, who can't get the defensive back to back off away from him.
And it was Casey Hayward who had that tight coverage. Very nice play by the 7th-year man out of Vanderbilt. And now punt number 5 today for Pinion. King back deep. Short punt, and King comes up to call for a fair catch at his own 39. 37-yard punt for Bradley Pinion. And out comes Phillip Rivers with 6:50 to go. Phillip Rivers, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And James, you used to be an assistant coach for the Chargers. I think you've seen these shots a few times, huh?
He is very animated, and what's funny is the language is totally G, not even PG. It's just G. He's having fun out there. He's expressing himself. He's talking to people, and he just has a way with his body language and his words that actually inspires his team. They love seeing him get fired up.
On first down and 10, they hand it off to Melvin Gordon following the block of Keenan Allen. And Gordon has a first down. Finally taken down out of bounds by Fred Warner. A gain of 15 for Melvin Gordon, and with that run, he goes over 100 yards rushing on the day.
Years and years ago, when Bill Walsh first came into the NFL, and he went to the San Francisco 49ers in the late 70s and early 80s, he said, we pass to set up the run. And the short passing game, and then later on, because we've worn them down a little bit, Lions going from side to side, chasing the pass rusher, the runs become more effective.
Sixth 100-yard rushing game in the career of Melvin Gordon. He's out on this first and 10. It's Eckler as the running back. And Eckler takes the handoff. And not much room to run for the second-year man out of Western State. With 6 minutes and counting to go. Chargers trying to hang on here down the stretch. They lead by 2.
Chargers in the last setup had a fullback in. Watson at fullback. Now they go with 3 wide receivers. And what that does is it brings the nickel package in for the San Francisco 49ers. So you are running against smaller people up front. You've taken an additional linebacker out, and now you spread them out, and you have better run lanes if you want to run the football.
Second down and 11 with Virgil Green, the tight end, in motion.
Green 80! Good!
Rivers with pressure coming, gets rid of it to Eckler. Eckler spins away from Exum and is 2 yards shy of a first down. The key for the Niners all week at practice was cutting down those missed tackles. Exum allows Eckler to get a couple extra yards.
Key for Phillip Rivers, a master at using the clock. 5 minutes to play. He's going to let this go all the way down to 20 seconds in the huddle now. They're going to get to the line of scrimmage. He's going to take a good look, move everybody around, talk, walk up, walk backwards. This snap should not come to about 5 or 6 seconds.
Eckler, the running back, on 3rd and 2. It is Eckler up the middle and right at the line, and I think he's short. With that spot, Eckler is a half-yard shy of a first down.
I think right now, decision-making, Anthony Lynn, go for it on 4th down. Let Phillip Rivers use a little bit of voice inflection here. You've got a nickel package in. You can run and maybe gain a yard.
On 4th and 1, the Chargers keep the offense on the field. Will they run a play, or is Phillip Rivers just trying to get him to go offside?
I think they can even take it down and use the timeout here from the Chargers. So they're going to take the timeout and discuss it a little bit more.
We'd like to welcome those of you who watch the Giants take on the Saints. We've had a wild one here in Carson, California. Alongside the Hall of Famer James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan as we take a look at the game summary to this point. First drive of the game, Phillip Rivers throws a pick six. Antone Exum with the return for a touchdown. Chargers fell behind 14-0. They got some momentum, but then a big play here. An 82-yard touchdown from C.J. Beathard to George Kittle. Caleb Sturgis with the field goal to give the Chargers a 2-point lead, but Sturgis is a big storyline in this game. The LA kicker has missed one field goal from 54 yards, but he's also missed 2 extra points. And now Anthony Lynn sends out his punter, Drew Kaiser, to try to pin the 49ers deep. Bounces at the 6, and a good job by Kaiser. San Francisco will be backed up to start this drive with 3:49 to go.
You call the timeout. You're Anthony Lynn. You go over to George Stewart, your special teams coach. We need to pin them inside the 10-yard line. Make sure our punter realizes that that's what we need to be able to do here. So you get that little reverse knuckle kick, drops like a 9-iron, spins back a little bit, and now you have them inside the 10-yard line where they've got to go almost the entire length of the field to get in field goal range.
And keep in mind, that would have been about a 55-yarder, which a lot of kickers would go out and attempt, but Sturgis has already missed from 54, so instead of a long field goal attempt, they go for the punt. Beathard on first down, completes it to Breida. Breida slips through. Matt Breida with speed, and Breida across the 25-yard line. Darius Philon on the tackle. So James, going back to the fourth down decision to call timeout, they could have saved the timeout, taking the delay of game penalty.
Correct, and because what they were trying to do at the line of scrimmage and getting them to move off sides, 5 yards would have given them more room to punt it down in, but they got a successful punt anyways.
Beathard to Alfred Morris out of the backfield. Morris falls across the 30-yard line. Now, if you're just joining us, San Francisco only has one timeout. That's because they lost 2 challenges here in the second half. So not only do they only have one timeout remaining, but they are out of challenges the rest of the way, which becomes a moot point in a minute because inside 2 minutes, all replays have to be called from the booth, all reviews, that is.
And for all intents and purposes, they have 2 timeouts. They have their own timeout, and then they have the stoppage at the 2-minute warning. But first objective is to continue to get first downs.
2:40 to go, 2nd and 6. C.J. Beathard with pressure coming, he's hit, and it's picked off! Isaac Rochelle with his first career interception. How do you like that?
How do you not recognize Derwin James in and around the line of scrimmage? He's been disruptive. 2 sacks in the first 2 games of the season. And then here, another pressure right here. He's the one who hits Beathard as he's trying to throw the ball. Right there on the outside, he's going to come around, and he's going to be all in the kitchen of Beathard.
Somehow it ends up in the hands of the first-year defensive end, Isaac Rochelle, out of Notre Dame. And Kyle Shanahan can't believe it, as Beathard is picked off for the 2nd time today, and the Chargers take over in the red zone. And again, San Francisco only with that 1 timeout and the 2-minute warning. Eckler to the 14-yard line. Warner makes the tackle, and Kyle Shanahan uses his final timeout with 2:23 to play.
First man in on the tackle, second man in trying to punch the ball out. Obviously, if you're carrying the ball for the Chargers, ball security is important.
For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the 49ers and the Chargers. Alongside James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan. The Chargers lead 29-27. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. So San Francisco now has to try to hold the Chargers to a field goal and then get the ball back with no timeouts remaining and have C.J. Beathard lead them down the field. Beathard 23 of 37 for 298 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
If the Chargers do not pick up a first down and end up having to kick a field goal, San Francisco would then get the ball back with about 1:10, 1:15 to play.
Eckler is the running back. Rivers looking to throw. Rivers completes it to Virgil Green, and Virgil Green inside the 5-yard line. That is good for a first down. And now San Francisco cannot stop the clock except for the 2-minute warning.
Great job by Ken Whisenhunt and Anthony Lynn putting the game in Philip Rivers' hands. He's going to make the smart decision even when he's out of the pocket.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's and by NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV.
A wild game here in Carson, California, and all the Chargers need to do is take 3 knees, and this one is over. San Francisco cannot stop the clock. They lost 2 challenges here in the second half, which cost them 2 timeouts. And an inspired performance by C.J. Beathard and the 49ers without Jimmy Garoppolo. But late in the game, the interception by Isaac Rochelle, and the Chargers were able to put them away to get to 2-2 on the year. Rivers finishes 25 of 39 for 250 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. And with those 250 yards today, Philip Rivers passed John Elway for 8th all-time in passing yards. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and an inside look at the Kavanaugh hearings. That's followed by the premieres of God Friended Me and NCIS Los Angeles, plus Magnum PI tonight, only CBS. You look at these LA Chargers, and they're going to go to 2-2. Their 2 losses were against the undefeated Chiefs, who play tomorrow night against Denver, and the undefeated LA Rams, who are now 4-0. So, as Philip Rivers told us on Friday, we break the season down into quarters, and if we can get to 2-2, I really think we're trending in the right direction. And that's exactly what they do here to close out the month of September. Anthony Lynn and Kyle Shanahan go way back, as Anthony Lynn was a member of Mike Shanahan's teams in Denver. Mike Shanahan, the head coach. Kyle was the ball boy on those teams. They have a lot of respect for each other. But today it's Anthony Lynn who gets the best of Kyle Shanahan. And the 49ers come up 2 points short against LA. Final score, LA Chargers 29, San Francisco 49ers 27. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by the premieres of God Friended Me and NCIS Los Angeles, plus Magnum PI. For the Hall of Famer James Lofton, this is Andrew Catalon saying so long from Carson. You have been watching the NFL on CBS, your home for Super Bowl 53. Chargers win it 29-27. Good night.